been more surprising movies in 2019 rather than biggest disappointments. There are still some, so I'm going to talk about my top 5 biggest disappointments of 2019. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a cinematastic day. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema, and before we get into my thoughts, what I was disappointed in from 2019, I would like to hear what you were disappointed in. From the disappointing to the most disappointing, and this is not a list of the worst movies of 2019, I'm not going to be going into all that and all of the negatives of 2019. This is the movies that I had expectation for that was higher than the result of how I perceived the film, my opinions on the film after watching it, and it was just not as good as I expected it to be. It didn't deliver in every level I wanted it to. Make sure to like and subscribe, because pretty soon I'll be doing the biggest surprises of 2019 in the top 10 of 2019. And at number 5 we have Disney's live action Dumbo, and these films I actually pretty enjoy for what they are. I really enjoy the live action aspect, though they're not quite necessary, besides the fact that they're just there for nostalgia, sort of having a fun little twist sometimes on the story, where they take the story. And this one just did not deliver. Having Tim Burton as the director, he normally directs more darker tone movies, and it doesn't quite fit this film, but it's also at the same time delivers in a way that's just not exciting or fun or cheerful. It doesn't have that Disney charm to it, because some of the adults just make sort of dumb decisions throughout, and it seems like the kids are the main protagonists that make these wiser decisions, know what's going on and everything, and it just is really weird the way the plot is structured, and just the way some characters are able to jump from one place to another within seconds when it should be taking so many minutes. It's just so weird and inconsistent with the way it's portrayed. I want it to be so much more charming the way it plays out, but it just doesn't. Coming in at number 4 we have Shazam, and this was a film I was looking forward to because there's so many people hyping it up. I actually missed it in theaters because I just didn't get around to it, and by the time I did, it was just kind of good. It wasn't great, it wasn't fantastic, it was just good, and it delivered in some levels, it delivered in some moments, but it just never really grabbed onto me, made it feel like a fantastic superhero film. It wasn't my favorite of the DCEU, because some of those I actually really enjoy more as an unpopular opinion, but Shazam just didn't do it for quite as much for me. I really like the family elements and sort of some of the villain and the way it plays out, but just the transformation to Shazam as a more adult person to his kid version just didn't work for me. Going back and forth between them, the humor just didn't work, and some of the superhero moments didn't even work quite as well for me. The way he had to transform into learning his powers and everything, it just felt like a way of, it felt really long for being an origin, and the villain wasn't even that compelling as much for me either. At number 3 we have Jumanji: The Next Level, and this was one as sort of never fully sold me with the trailers that it got sent out. I never fully got the humor that it was trying to portray, but I really enjoyed the first Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, but this one just did not deliver. It missed its mark. I liked the third act and where it played out from there, but it took a tiresome first 2 acts to get to that, to make it feel like the freshness of Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. But even at the same time, the whole thing nearly replicates the story of Welcome to the Jungle, so it doesn't feel quite as fresh. It's just made for the pure fact that it needs to set up a third movie going back to sort of nostalgia of the first original Jumanji, and therefore it just doesn't deliver the way the character dynamics works. Does not work as well, quite as well. The family dynamics, everything that goes on, the problems that occur within, it just feels forced and rushed and just used as a placement film to get onto the third film in this franchise. Number 2, we have Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I did not want this to be on this list. I was really excited for it. There were some things in the trailers that never really sold me on it, but I was always really hopeful because this is the conclusion to the sequel trilogy and the conclusion to the Skywalker saga, and therefore it had so much weight on it that it just sort of did not deliver in what it was trying to do, and it especially did not work out that Disney never really planned ahead with this trilogy, mapped out what they wanted the directors to do. So therefore, J.J. Abrams was trying to retconning some of The Last Jedi, was trying to bring out some of the elements of his own ending, what he wanted, and I wasn't particularly offended by the direction they took with The Last Jedi retcons, despite me really enjoying that movie. That's not where it threw it off, but it's where the potential of keeping some of that storyline, dragging that on without trying to retcon that and make its own story, make its own deliverance on just continuing the story without having to deal with those problems, having to change some things just so he can get his own conclusion. And overall, it was just sort of just a moderate film. It didn't feel well structured in its story the best way a Star Wars film could. And while it was good enough, having a Star Wars film be good enough is never good enough. But my number 1 disappointment of 2019 is Gemini Man. This is a film I was really excited for from the trailers. The action looks amazing, the storyline looks promising, and just having 2 Will Smiths in one movie just has as a clone, it sounds bizarre. The storyline sounded like it was going to be really good, and it just did not deliver nearly in any level. The thing that really got me into it was some of the action, and just, of course, Will Smith. Of course, his caricature is really fun. It's enjoyable to watch, but the deliverance of him in this movie was just not as good as it could have been. It felt like the storyline was as basic as it could be, and it didn't quite give you as much as it sort of showed you in the trailers. It did not deliver quite as much as what it was really setting up this film to be. And therefore, that was my number 1 most disappointing movie of 2019. Those were just my personal disappointments of 2019. Fortunately, there are less disappointments for me than I had the biggest surprises, and you won't want to miss my top 10 biggest surprises of 2019 coming soon, as well as my top 10 best of 2019. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe it so you don't miss those future upcoming videos. Make sure to check out some of these videos that you may have missed before, and I'll be back for more movie reviews, rankings, and more.